right then, next thing we're going to talk about is the next secret of the green thumb. Brown leaf tips mean too much water. And I have a few examples to show you. Now, it's true that brown leaf tips can mean other things. They can mean the humidity is too high or too low, or the temperature is off, or the water is too little, the soil is too dry, all kinds of things. But 98% of the time, brown leaf tips mean that your soil is too wet. This is a Warnicki, and here you can see the brown tips. This is what we mean by brown tips. These tips on these leaves are brown. In addition, there's brown on the edges of the leaves. That's as the condition advances, as the soil remains too wet, it goes from brown tips to brown on the edges of the leaves. Here's another example. This is a pothos. Very sad looking pothos here. It's got all these brown tips on the leaves. You'll see how it's yellowish. This is a little bit different than this one. Yellowish and then the brown. And the brown around the edges. When a pothos is too wet, the first thing you see is brown on these little stems, on the leaf stems. Those get brown first. Then the leaves start to tip. Like this, they get brown. And then the brown continues and it gets worse and worse. Here's the brown tips on the palm fronds. See? Brown tips. If you get that all over your plant is too wet. Here are some leaves from Janet Craig, cousin to the corn plant. They're all the same, in the same family as this. And they're very common plants. People have them, and people almost always overwater them if they don't know what they're doing so well. And you get these little brown tips on all the leaves. Little brown tips start to show up. Here's some aglaonemas. Little brown tips. So this is not too bad. This one is just starting to show the signs of overwatering. Little brown tips, little yellowish. They start off yellow and they get to brown like that one. Like, again, one or two leaves, this is nothing much to worry about. But if you start to see it all over the plant, you need to check the soil. Here's a little leaf from a spath, a peace lily. It's a new little leaf, that's why it's so small. Normally their leaves are much larger, but the whole leaf is turning brown in the middle. That's almost for sure a sign that this plant soil is too wet. When you have brown tips on your plant, you've got too much water in the soil.